That sudden jolt, awake. The clock glowing 2:00 a.m., maybe 2:30 a.m. It feels like a cruel trick of the universe, doesn't it? Just when you were finally drifting into a good sleep. Boom. You're wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Mind racing. Wondering if you'll ever get back to sleep tonight. It's incredibly frustrating, and it happens to so many of us, especially as we get a little older. You might feel alone in this, but trust me, you're not. This persistent middle-of-the-night wake-up isn't just random bad luck. There are actual reasons behind it, things your body and mind are trying to tell you. And the secret understanding these reasons is the first step to finding your way back to peaceful, uninterrupted sleep. In this video, we're going to explore the common culprits behind that 2 a.m. wake-up call and, more importantly, simple, practical steps you can take to start sleeping through the night again. We'll look at how your habits, your environment, and even what you eat and drink earlier in the day can play a big role. There are simple adjustments that don't involve complicated medications or expensive gadgets, just small shifts that can make a world of difference. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you and might just be the missing piece you've been looking for. Let's dive right into some of the most common reasons you might be finding yourself wide awake around that same time every night. One of the first things many people notice, and often the most immediate reason, is needing to get up and use the bathroom. This is incredibly common as we get older, and it has a name: nocturia. Your kidneys might not concentrate urine as effectively overnight as they once did. Your bladder capacity might decrease slightly. And sometimes, conditions like diabetes or even just simply drinking too much fluid too close to bedtime can contribute. Think about it. If you're having a cup of tea or a large glass of water right before you head to bed, your body is naturally going to need to process that liquid, and it often peaks in the early hours of the morning. It's not just about the volume, though. Certain drinks are diuretic, meaning they encourage your body to produce more urine. Yes, we're talking about caffeine. That afternoon coffee or even some teas can linger in your system longer than you think. And alcohol, while it might make you feel sleepy initially, it disrupts your sleep cycle and is also a diuretic, almost guaranteeing a trip to the bathroom in the middle of the night, often right around that 2 a.m. mark. So, what can you do about this needing to pee problem? It starts with being mindful of your fluid intake, particularly in the late afternoon and evening. Try to front-load your hydration earlier in the day. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water from morning until around dinner time, and then start to taper off. It doesn't mean you can't have a sip if you're thirsty, but avoid large glasses or cups of anything in the 2 or 3 hours leading up to bedtime. Pay particular attention to those diuretic drinks. Maybe swap that evening cup of caffeinated tea for a decaf herbal version or warm milk. If you enjoy a glass of wine or a beer in the evening, consider having it earlier with dinner rather than closer to sleep time. And maybe have a glass of water alongside it to help your body process it more easily. For some people, elevating their legs in the afternoon can help redistribute fluid that might otherwise collect in the lower legs during the day, reducing the amount of fluid that needs to be processed by the kidneys overnight. Simply sitting with your feet up for an hour or so can make a difference if you find that you're constantly waking up needing to go, even when you feel you haven't had much to drink. It could be worth mentioning to your doctor. Sometimes it's related to other underlying health conditions, but often, these simple hydration timing adjustments are surprisingly effective. It's about training your body just a little bit, beyond the obvious bathroom trips. Another significant factor contributing to waking up at 2 a.m. is the natural change in our sleep patterns as we age. Our sleep architecture shifts. We tend to spend less time in deep, restorative sleep and more time in lighter stages of sleep. We also have more awakenings during the night, even if we don't remember them all. For younger people, these brief awakenings might just be moments before they drift back into deep sleep. But for people over 60, these awakenings are more likely to become full consciousness, And that 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. mark often coincides with the end of a sleep cycle and a natural, but lighter, period of sleep where it's easier to be disturbed. So, while you might think you slept solidly until 2 a.m. and then suddenly woke up, you were likely going through the normal cycles of sleep, hitting a light phase right around that time. The key here is that because you're spending less time in deep sleep, external or internal disturbances that you might have slept through years ago now have a much better chance of pulling you into full wakefulness. This isn't necessarily a problem in itself. It's just how sleep changes. The problem is staying awake once you've woken up. And this is where anxiety and stress often sneak in, particularly the stress about waking up. You wake up, look at the clock, see it's 2 a.m., and immediately your mind starts racing. Oh no, it's only 2 a.m., I'm never going to get back to sleep. I'm going to be exhausted tomorrow. This always happens. This internal monologue triggers a stress response in your body. Adrenaline and cortisol can be released, which are hormones designed to make you alert and ready for action, not drift back to sleep. It's a vicious cycle. You wake up, get stressed about waking up, and the stress keeps you awake. Your brain starts associating 2 a.m. with being wide awake and stressed, almost conditioning you to wake up at that time. This is a powerful factor, and it's why sometimes, even if you address other issues like needing the bathroom or your environment, the habit of waking and stressing can persist. Breaking this cycle requires a shift in your reaction to waking up. Instead of immediately engaging with anxious thoughts, try to simply notice that you're awake without judgment. Remind yourself it's okay, that you can rest even if you're not deeply asleep. Avoid looking at the clock if you can. Knowing the exact time often just fuels the anxiety about how little sleep you have left. If you find yourself wide awake and stressing for more than 20 minutes, it's often more productive to get out of bed for a little while. Sit in a comfortable chair in dim light. Maybe read a book or listen to quiet music, and only return to bed when you feel genuinely sleepy again. This helps break the association between your bed and frustrated wakefulness. It's counterintuitive, but sometimes leaving the sleep environment for a short period is the best way to signal to your brain that the bed is for sleeping, not stressing about not sleeping. This requires patience and practice, but calming your reaction to waking up is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Now, let's continue our exploration into why you might be hitting that 2 a.m. wall. Beyond the bathroom visits and the shifts in sleep architecture and the mental game of stress, your daily habits, particularly around food and activity, play a massive role. We often think about diet and exercise for our physical health, but they significantly impact our sleep quality too. Let's talk about eating, specifically eating late in the evening. Having a large meal or heavy snacks too close to bedtime means your digestive system is still working hard when you're trying to rest. This active digestion can cause discomfort, heartburn, indigestion, or just general internal churning that can easily disrupt lighter sleep phases and wake you up. Spicy foods or foods high in fat are particularly notorious for causing digestive upset overnight. Aim to finish your main meal at least 2 to 3 hours before you plan to go to sleep. If you need a snack closer to bedtime, choose something light and easily digestible, like a small bowl of plain yogurt, a banana, or a handful of almonds. Avoiding large amounts of liquid with that late snack can also help prevent the nocturia we discussed earlier. Another habit that seems helpful but can sometimes backfire is late evening exercise. While regular physical activity is fantastic for promoting deeper, more restful sleep overall, vigorous exercise too close to bedtime can raise your body temperature and heart rate, making it harder to fall asleep and potentially causing awakenings later in the night as your body is still winding down. The ideal time for exercise is earlier in the day, perhaps in the morning or afternoon. If you prefer evening exercise, try to finish at least 3 hours before you plan to sleep. Lighter activities like a gentle walk or stretching can be fine closer to bedtime. And for some people, a relaxing activity like yoga or Tai Chi can even be beneficial. It's about finding the right balance and timing for your own body. The goal is to use exercise to build up healthy fatigue during the day, not to rev yourself up right before you need to switch off. And speaking of switching off, the environment you sleep in is absolutely critical. Is your bedroom truly a sanctuary for sleep? Or is it too light? Even small amounts of light, from streetlights filtering through curtains, digital clocks, or charging electronics, can interfere with the production of melatonin, the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to sleep. Consider investing in blackout curtains if outside light is an issue. Turn off or cover up glowing electronics. Is it too noisy? Traffic noise, a ticking clock, even a partner's snoring can easily pull you out of light sleep. Earplugs can be a simple solution, or perhaps a white noise machine or a fan to create a consistent, masking sound that can help you sleep through minor disturbances. What about temperature? Most sleep experts agree that a slightly cooler room is better for sleep. If your room is too warm, you might find yourself waking up feeling uncomfortable and restless. Experiment with your thermostat or extra blankets to find the temperature that's just right for you. Usually somewhere between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Think also about your bedtime routine. Do you have one? Or do you just tumble into bed? Creating a consistent, relaxing routine in the hour or two before bed signals to your body and mind that it's time to wind down. This could include taking a warm bath, reading a physical book not on a backlit screen, listening to calming music, or doing some gentle stretching or meditation. Avoiding stimulating activities like watching intense TV shows, scrolling through social media, or engaging in stressful conversations right before bed is key. The blue light emitted from screens like phones, tablets, and computers is particularly disruptive to melatonin production. Try to put devices away at least an hour before you plan to sleep. This winding down period isn't a luxury. It's a necessary transition from the activity of the day to the restfulness needed for sleep. Without it, your brain might still be buzzing when you get into bed, making it harder to fall asleep initially, and more likely you'll wake up later. Finally, while many 2 a.m. wake-ups are linked to lifestyle factors and age-related changes, it's important to acknowledge that sometimes they can be a symptom of an underlying health issue. Conditions like sleep apnea, where breathing is interrupted during sleep, restless leg syndrome, chronic pain, acid reflux, or even certain medications can significantly disrupt sleep patterns and cause frequent awakenings. If you've tried adjusting your habits and environment and are still struggling with persistent middle-of-the-night wake-ups, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor. They can help identify if there's an underlying medical reason for your sleep problems and recommend appropriate treatment. Don't just suffer through it. Professional guidance can make a huge difference. Remember, sleep is not a luxury. It's a fundamental pillar of your health and well-being, especially as we age. Getting enough quality sleep impacts everything from your mood and energy levels to your memory and overall physical health. So, treating sleep problems seriously and seeking help when needed is an act of self-care. So, as we've explored, that persistent 2 a.m. wake-up call isn't usually a single, mysterious problem. It's often a combination of factors: the natural evolution of our sleep patterns as we age, perhaps a bit of late-night hydration or a meal that's too close to bedtime, maybe some anxiety about not sleeping, or even just a bedroom environment that isn't quite conducive to rest. The good news is that because it's often a mix of things, making even small adjustments in a few different areas can start to chip away at the problem. Think about those sips of water or tea in the evening, the timing of your dinner, whether you're looking at screens right before bed, or simply how you react when you do wake up. Even tiny changes, like blocking out light from your alarm clock or deciding not to check your phone if you wake up, can begin to make a difference. Remember, you're not alone in this. Waking up in the middle of the night is a very common experience, and it doesn't mean there's anything fundamentally wrong with you. It just means your sleep needs have shifted a little, and perhaps some of your habits need a small tweak to support that shift. Be patient with yourself. You're not going to fix years of sleep patterns overnight. Try implementing one or two of these suggestions at a time and see how your body responds. Maybe start by limiting evening fluids, or committing to putting screens away an hour before bed, or simply practicing that non-anxious response when you wake up. Small, consistent steps are much more effective than trying to overhaul everything at once and getting overwhelmed. Finding your way back to consistent, restful sleep is truly one of the most impactful things you can do for your energy, your mood, your clarity of mind, and your overall enjoyment of life. When you're well rested, everything feels a little bit brighter, doesn't it? You have more energy to do the things you love, more patience for challenges, and a better ability to focus and enjoy your days. Don't underestimate the power of sleep to transform your daily experience. It's worth prioritizing. It's worth experimenting with different strategies. And it's definitely worth talking about if you're finding it really challenging. I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced this 2 a.m. wake-up phenomenon? What have you tried? Or what do you think might be the biggest culprit for you? Sharing your experiences and thoughts in the comments below can be incredibly helpful, not just for me, but for others watching who might be going through the same thing. Your insight could be just the thing someone else needs to hear. If you found this video helpful, or if it gave you something new to think about regarding your sleep, please give it a thumbs up. That tells me this kind of content is valuable to you, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We share lots of tips and information designed to help you live your happiest, healthiest, most vibrant life at every age. And joining our community means you won't miss out on future videos. Remember, better sleep is absolutely achievable by understanding what's going on and making conscious choices to support your sleep. You can reclaim your nights and feel so much better during your days. Live your best life at every age.